Yeah. Hi, Gerald. My first question is, what is your reaction to this news?
Well, I'm extremely excited, as members of council are as well, that are with me here at the SUMA convention in Saskatoon. Certainly, we're very excited to hear that governments of Canada and Saskatchewan are coming together to meet our ISIP application that we put in. It's been a long time in coming, and we're really excited to see that information come forward to the community.
Okay, great. My follow-up question is, the total amount adds up to $50 million. So where's the rest of the money going to come from, Gerald?
Well, certainly, as it was discussed, Jeff, throughout the community, there's various streams that we're looking at, including borrowing. A borrowing bylaw was approved by council for $33 million last year. We have some sponsorship money that we look to generate within the community and support through fundraising, as well as there's going to be money we anticipate being received for the development of the lots around the arena complex of Lloyd Place from that perspective. So there will be information coming to council very shortly from the administration, now that we know where we're at with Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Canada, and we'll take it forward from there, and that'll lay out the details. Why the $50 million was emphasized was that was the maximum the project could be for this grant application. So we went ahead with it anyways, even though our project was well over $50 million. That this was the funding stream that was available, and they could only grant up to basically a 66% costing of that $50 million project.
Okay, thanks.
Mayor Aalbers, Gerald Aalbers here. Question for you, as we're saying, we're still going to have to borrow at least $33 million. There's concern, one, about the interest payments. Some people have in jest, but quite seriously saying that we'll be paying for it for the rest of our lives. And then the other part of the question is as well, in terms of the return on investment. Even the notes on it are simply saying that not even in 5 years we may see return on investment. What are your thoughts still about proceeding with this project, given those kinds of critiques?
Well, I guess I would say, there's projects in our city that we continue to use today that we will be paying for some time. And there's a list available on the city website of those projects, including the operations center, the RCMP building, the water line, I believe it's the sewer line from the south end across the city. There's numerous projects that we borrow money on that are, and sometimes intergenerational, because those projects will serve more than this generation and the generation in the future, first of all. Second, no one knows where interest rates are going, but I can also assure you we're not going out to borrow all the money today or tomorrow. It will come in stages, and certainly we hope interest rates will start to settle down just a little bit from that perspective to where they have been. They have settled off right now. We hope we don't see increases. We hope to see decreases, which will make that happen. Certainly, this is a challenging project from the perspective. There's examples from other communities that are looking at projects such as this. The example I best use is the City of Regina has just gone through a number of items, and what they're saying by 2032, the numbers they project today will be 80% higher. So I'm afraid there's nothing that we build going forward that will get any cheaper. And if we don't move on this project today with a grant announcement like today, I don't know if we'll have another opportunity in the future to have that. And again, I just remind people that the Civic Center has an age limit on it, and we don't want to push that age limit. We'll continue to work with the engineer to ensure that it's structurally sound, but sooner or later we'll reach a point that it's reached its expiry date.
Mayor Aalbers, another critique that I've heard, people are looking at the opportunity cost, and they're asking the question, if we build this as opposed to building something else, as say a hospital, what are your thoughts on that even?
Well, I had that comment earlier today, as a matter of fact, Gerard, and I appreciate that. I think that you have to remember healthcare is a dual provincial responsibility in our city. I know people are concerned about the hospital and other facilities, but I also need to remind people that we have a lane that we belong in, and that lane involves recreation, culture, roads, water, sewer, fire department protection. And from that perspective, we need to make sure that that people understand the hospital, education, are responsibilities of the province of Saskatchewan and Alberta, and we do not want to play in those lanes because we do not have the ability to have the access of taxation as well as their whole financial strength that they carry that we do not have.
Talent, I'm Primetime Local News. I'd like to hear your thoughts on just the kind of the general reception that you anticipate from the public regarding this investment.
Well, I think we've been waiting patiently to hear back from the federal and provincial government. I've had numerous conversations. I know council's been involved in those. We've had open houses and opportunities for people to ask us what happens if we don't get the grant money. Now, I guess that's the question. We will discuss where we go with the grant money, and from that perspective, I want to assure people I've been on the phone today again with Government of Alberta, with MLA Garth Rosewell, and certainly discussions making them aware. One of the challenges was, and I'd heard this clearly before, that there was consideration given, but currently the budget does not contain any money for City of Lloydminster. We hope to address that in the 2024 budget, and we'll be discussing that during the election for the new government of Alberta, as well with the government that is formed after May 29th. So I believe this is that message that the community wanted to know before. They didn't want to be on the hook for the entire project. We had laid out what our funding model was. Now we can clarify what we know today and what we hope to anticipate going forward in the future.
Thank you. No follow-up.
Thank you.
Gerald, does this mean that construction will start, or was it going to start anyway?
No, what this means now is, I believe this will come to City Council very shortly, requesting the approval to go to tender. So this is just the next step, but I think I know I made it very clear, and other members of council when they were asked, we were not moving forward until we had a clear direction as to what kind of support we could expect from the governments of Canada and Saskatchewan on this project. We now have that. So I think that anyone would, we're meeting what we said to stay transparent and open, that there was no movement until that money had been determined one way or another. Had this announcement not come today, council would have been having a much different conversation, I'm sure, at the next meeting to discuss what steps going forward. But there has been no tenders awarded other than a project manager, construction manager hired, and that's PCL Construction, working with a local firm, Bexon Construction, to ensure that we get the best quality opportunity. If we move forward, now we're able to basically bring that back to council, get direction from council, whether we move forward and pretend to go to the tender process.
You mentioned you've reached out to Alberta with them saying they're not going to fit that into the budget this year, and Saskatchewan and the federal government committing these dollars. Is that it for grant funding? Is the rest going to have to be picked up by taxpayers?
We truly believe we've made a very strong argument to the government of Alberta. We've had numerous meetings with several ministers. The challenge was our request did not fit the budgetary process or any programs they had, especially since we were accessing ISIP money that was a provincial federal arrangement in Saskatchewan. My hope is that we've made a very strong case to the government of Alberta. We're asking them to come to the table as a funding partner. I think that we can be in a position to move forward and have them come forward, not right at the beginning as we'd hoped, but hopefully not shortly after. And I think that will happen hopefully after May 29th. Whoever forms government will definitely be well aware of our project and our needs.
But that's it though. You can't go back to federal government or Saskatchewan now for more.
No. Oh, that would be an unprecedented affair once you receive that grant funding currently. Now, that being said, we've already taken the ball diamonds and applied to another federal grant for this slow pitch diamonds that were being proposed in the original proposal. So if we can find ways and means to access grants, our administration will do a great job of doing that. So that's what we know today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Just before we do, I think we are getting a little close. How are you doing for time, Mr. Mayor?
I'm
one
good.
Or two more questions, or
the Minister of Government Relations making the announcement up on the stage currently right now behind me, but that's okay. I'd rather get this answer these questions for sure.
Okay. I'll just go through the order again. Anything else from you, Jeff? You're on mute, Jeff, if you're talking.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, perfect. And who do we got? Jerry?
Yes, Mayor Aalbers, another question for you. In terms of timelines, although it's probably a bit too early, with the possibility then, since you've got $50 million, you're still looking for another, what is it, 52? Is that somewhere there?
Well, give or take.
Give or take. Would it be possible then to say you start some of the key parts of the project first and go ahead with those? Or are you looking at having all the money in place before you start?
Well, we've that will come to the council for decision as to what model. There was 5 models presented for this facility beforehand, and the information that will come to council now as to what we will proceed with. And I think that I don't want to speak on behalf of council, because that will be a discussion debate that will happen in the council chambers at a council meeting, followed by a vote and determining which direction we go and exactly the nature of the project. But we did stipulate 2 ice surfaces in the grant application. So, and including an outdoor ice surface. So it kind of lays some of the groundwork, but certainly I believe the governments would understand if council said we're building a structure as it's proposed over the second ice surface and waiting to raise the money. But I think that I want to remind people, once construction starts, this is basically a 2-year process. So that gives council and administration time to continue the source and work with the community to find those sources of funds to ensure that this is done, be it the government of Alberta, as well as sponsorship and donations, fundraising. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We know that, but that will come back to council for that final decision.
Okay, sounds good. I'll hold it on that for now then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
No
guess
more
I should
questions.
unmute myself. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Colin. And over to you, Kurt.
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, perfect. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, everyone, for jumping on. We'll let you back to your meeting there, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the coverage, gentlemen. I very much appreciate it.